Hello. Well, I want to ask you, what does this have to do with this? Or even this? Listen on and I'll tell you. But first, I'm going to tell you about a personal story. I got very depressed by the comments I got under my last video, which was about the grand Schofield scandal. Now, I got so depressed that I already had a video set up, which was the second part of the stuff where the Telegraph exposes some of the suppressive measures the government was taking about the disease which shall not be named. I actually had it ready and I couldn't bring myself to just put it online and upload it. I just got so depressed by some of the comments underneath the video I made about the Schofield thing, and I'll talk about those in a minute. Instead, I got busy making a skirt, and then the buttonhole gadget on my machine stopped working properly, so now I'm going to have to do them by hand. That is a job I don't look forward to doing. Anyway, to get back to matters of more international importance. First of all, regarding Schofield, nothing has been proved. Nothing has been proved. So under British law, at least English law, I'm not too sure about Scottish or Welsh law now, but under English law, he is innocent of any crime. Now, for those of you who are coming to this party late, I shall tell you the bare bones of the case, which have been confirmed by the young man himself, was that the television presenter met the lad when he was 15 and coming to some sort of work experience thing at TV studios. They re-met when he was 18 and they had a close relationship when the young man turned 20. That is not grooming. Whatever you may think of the actions of this older, more powerful man taking up with a young hopeful, this was not grooming. At the age of 20, the young man could make his own decisions. It's dodgy from a power dynamic point of view, but it is not grooming. Now, what I got under the comments to my video was, first of all, they said somebody said the lad wasn't 15, he was 12. And then a bit later on, somebody else said he was 10. I was waiting for the age to go down to 3 months old, or possibly even that they first met when the young man was still a homunculus. Anyway, I also got another comment from somebody else that both of Schofield's brothers have been convicted of crimes against children. Philip Schofield has only one brother. And he's called Tim. And just because you have a brother who's gone very bad doesn't mean you're going the same way. President Lincoln was assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. And strangely enough, I have never heard that his older brother, Edwin Booth, showed any inclination to assassinate a president. Okay, then I got a story that Schofield was sleeping with Jason Donovan. Now, in 1992, Donovan actually went to court when a magazine called The Face said he was a homosexual. It was a very high-profile court case, for which, by the way, the press never forgave Donovan, because you can't call out the press when they're wrong or even libelous. They never forgave him. But if Donovan had been acting in the way that the Face said said he was acting, then someone would have come forward during that court case, and nobody did. And the Face paid a swinging damages and court costs and closed down a year later. It reopened a few years after that, but that was a different set of people. Anyway, don't you think there's something odd going on here? Again, I stress, I'm not defending Schofield. I think he's a creep. But what I do think is that making up stories like this to lash out against a man who's obviously in enough trouble anyway and in a very bad psychological state is just revolting. It's beyond even my linguistic ability to describe. At present, to date, we have no proof that there was any sort of relationship, physical relationship with this much younger man who was, until he was well into legal adulthood. And by that time he could make his own choices. This is not grooming. This is not that word that I'm worried about saying because it gets me demonetized on YouTube. Now, I know some of you say there's no problem with that on Rumble, and that's fine, except that most of my viewers happen to be on YouTube at the moment. I'm not too sure about the way YouTube is going, though, but meanwhile, I have to be careful. In fact, I'd say there's a good dose of anti-gay prejudice in all of this, actually. When you get a successful businessman taking up with a 20-year-old woman, this is seen as a chap with a trophy wife, you know, a real important person for whom money has taken the place of youth and beauty. And he's given quite a bit of admiration. Some people, and well, me included, find it distasteful, but there isn't a whole lot of press fizz about it, is there? Now, let's get to the real news. The grooming scandal. Apparently, these guys are still around. That's being ignored by the press completely. Here we have Manchester Evening News. Let's see. Oh, no, this is the Express. Why is he here? 6 years after he got a deportation order, he's still shopping in Rochdale. A leading MP has condemned, this is from last year. I can't find out what's happened to them, but since there's no news about them being deported, I assume they're still here. A leading MP has condemned the failed deportation system, which has allowed the ringleader of a child grooming gang to walk free in the town where he abused victims. Can you imagine those young women, now young women, seeing this man still walking around Rochdale, meeting him in the shops? They'd be in the same area, wouldn't they? Kari Abdul Rauf was jailed in 2012 and told he would be sent back to his native Pakistan. He was, well, we all know about this. He was freed on licence in 2014, 2 years. Oh, 2.5 years of a 6 years. He got 6 years for what he did and served 2.5, and now he's walking around Rochdale. And these guys, this is from 2020. Again, I haven't heard of any of these being back in Pakistan. If they are, please correct me. But even if they're not, the fact that there are still people like this wandering around after serving slap on the wrist terms is a scandal. And yet the press, which the press is ignoring, and you've got this, and the press is not ignoring that, and they're trying to drive this man into some sort of spectacular mistake, aren't they? Members of Rochdale grooming gang back in town 2 years after losing right to stay in the UK, it says here. Right, well, that's it. Do you think, by any chance, that this is perhaps a distraction? I mean, why is there a national fury about Schofield in the press and not about this? I mean, they're reporting it. It's not being ignored, but it's very low key. And we're not getting it every morning on this and that, are we, on these programmes? Yeah, throw a sacrifice at people, a sacrificial lamb, somebody who is, well, somewhat guilty so far. That's all we could say. Somewhat guilty of having a relationship with a younger man, which is not a legal crime. And they'll throw this word around that I'm not going to say, as a sacrifice. And because once that word gets stuck on you, of course, you're finished and everything is proven. And suddenly your victim becomes 10 years old, or a homunculus, or he has a relationship with somebody who has gone to court to prove he's not a homosexual. The whole thing is ridiculous, but you wonder what might be behind all of this, because I'm starting to wonder why the press are pushing this so much. It's very odd indeed. Okay, well, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I'm also on Twitter and Gab. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe on YouTube. Check you're still subscribed. You can contribute financially as well. Buy me a coffee. But really, click that like button. Okay, till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.